Good day, everyone. This is Regin CAHUAN, and I'm going to discuss the dimensions of learner-centered teaching. There are 5 dimensions of learner-centered teaching, and each of them has definition of dimensions, essential component, instructor-centered approach, and learner-centered approach. What are these 5 dimensions? These are the 5 dimensions of learner-centered teaching. First is the function of content, the role of the instructor, the responsibility for learning, the purposes and processes of assessment, and the balance of power. The first dimension is the function of content. Definition of this dimension. Content includes building a knowledge base, how the instructor and the student use the content. An essential component, level to which students engage content. Instructor-centered approach. Instructor allows students to memorize the content. Learner-centered approach. Instructor encourages students to transform and reflect on the most of the content to make their own meaning out of it. The role of the instructor. Definition of this dimension. An essential role of the instructor is to assist students to learn. An essential component. Instructor uses teaching and learning methods appropriate for student learning goals. Instructor-centered approach. Instructor does not have specific learning goals and or uses learning and teaching methods that conflict with learning goals. Learner-centered approach. Instructor intentionally uses various teaching and learning methods that are appropriate for student learning goals. The responsibility for learning. Definition of this dimension. Students should assume greater responsibility for learning over time. An essential component. Responsibility for learning should rest with the students. Instructor-centered approach. Instructor assumes all responsibilities for students' learning, provides content to memorize, does not require students to create their own meaning of content, tells students exactly what will be on examinations. Learner-centered approach. Instructor provides increasing opportunities for students to assume responsibility for their own learning, leading to achievement of stated learning objectives. The purposes and processes of assessment. Definition of this dimension. There are additional purposes and processes of assessment beyond assigning grades. An essential component. Formative assessment, giving feedback to foster improvement. Instructor-centered approach. Instructor uses only summative assessment to make decisions to assign grades, provide students with no constructive feedback. Learner-centered approach. Consistently throughout the learning process, instructor integrate informative assessment, constructive feedback. The balance of power. Definition of this dimension. The balance of power shapes so that the instructor shares some decisions about the course with the student. An essential component. Flexibility of course policies, assessments, methods, learning methods, and deadlines. Instructor-centered approach. Instructor mandates all policies and deadlines, or instructor does not adhere to policies. Learner-centered approach. Instructor is flexible in most course policies, assessment methods, learning methods, deadline, and instructor always adheres to what instructor has agreed to with the students. So that was all about the dimension of learner-centered teaching.